Hi, this is Howie Mandel Does Stuff. I'm Howie Mandel.
I'm Jacqueline Schultz, his daughter.
This is the first time Jackie just told me that this is the first episode she's nervous.
I'm anxious.
She's anxious because she is a huge fan of the show our guest is on, a huge fan of the guest.
A huge fan of just Bravo. I'm like one of those Bravo fanatics.
Okay. Is the guest ready to come in? Let us know.
No.
Is the guest ready to come in? He could take his time.
No one's answering us.
Yes,
no
come on in. It's Tom Sandoval. Tom Sandoval is a guy that I met. I'll talk to him in just a second. You're a huge fan of Vanderpump Rules. You never miss an episode. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Sandoval.
Woo!
Right there, that first one. Hi, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No, thanks for being here. She's incredibly nervous.
I'm so anxious right now.
And she's starstruck also.
Wow.
But here's the thing. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I really, really like you. And I like you because of the experiences that I've had with you. The first time we met, I just want to say, Kimmy Bader,
Yes.
who is works with me and has worked with me for years and years and years, and I've known her. She's like a family friend. She's a head of development for my company, my production company.
And my brother used to have slumber parties with her when they were like 2 years old.
She's here with her husband. She's here with her husband.
But not that kind of slumber party.
But when her and her husband got married, I think the first time I met you was at their wedding.
Yes.
And it was very nice. And not only did I meet you, and then you got up on stage and you sang and you performed.
Yeah, it was Toto, Africa, I believe.
You remember the song you sang? You sing because you're on tour all the time, and you remember what song you played at the Bader wedding.
It was a big deal.
That was a big day. It was a big day.
It was a big day.
And plus, it was just one song. You know, if you asked me to remember like 15 songs, I'd be like, I don't remember.
So that's where I met you. And I'm going to be totally upfront with you. I haven't watched Vanderpump Rules. I think I saw it way at the beginning, and then I did Lisa's podcast. This kid sitting beside me, my daughter, is a huge fan. Watches everything.
I wanted to go to her house and see the swans. So I was like, we're going to do her podcast.
But knows everything about you and your clubs and things like that. And then I have met you kind of socially after on other business. You know, we were trying to do business together. And,
Oh, it was Strix. The men's cosmetic line.
Yeah. Are you doing that?
Yeah, it's going great. We're in Target nationwide, at CVS nationwide.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I also am aware because Jason, who you work with and you're friends with, is also the drummer.
And the band manager of Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras, yeah.
Yes. And
Awesome guy.
you've already done a local gig when this airs, which I would imagine I was at and enjoyed. You like touring? You like doing that?
I do, actually. I got into this, you know, me and Jason got into this because we just wanted to have fun, and we weren't even thinking about it like more as a business or anything. We just really wanted to just play music, and it just has really sort of blossomed into this.
Bloomed or blossomed. It doesn't matter. Blooming and blossoming because spring is here.
Yeah.
It's spring, and that's what happens if you have a band. You bloom and you blossom. So I'm going to be totally honest. I don't follow any. What's been going on?
Well, I just bought this cardigan the other day.
So let's talk about that. The cardigan. I didn't know.
Is that the only thing that's been going on lately?
Obviously not.
Listen,
here's the deal. I was able to, my mom also doesn't watch anything. I was able to kind of explain it because I heard on another podcast in friends terms. Have you heard that analogy? Like what's going on right now in your life, but they put it in friends terminology with the show Friends.
No, I've never heard
you haven't heard that? I haven't heard that either.
And mom totally understands it now. It's as if, it's as if Chandler.
Let him say what's going on.
But it's not going to work for you,
okay.
so you're going to have to explain it to my dad. It's not because you don't understand Friends, but just so that you know what was being said. It's as if Chandler cheated on Monica with Rachel, and then Joey may have known, but didn't say anything.
Oh,
that's what I heard.
Friends terms. Okay, all right, I get it now.
So then my mom understood. He still doesn't get it. So I think you should explain.
Here's what I don't get. I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't understand the hoopla. In reading what I've read, I don't understand the hoopla. I say like almost so what?
It was.
You're gonna get in so much trouble for saying that.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say. And then I want to hear from you.
Sure,
and I want you to take the opportunity. And I wanted you to be here because my interactions with you, I like you. And my interactions with the Baders, your friends, they're like family to me. So here is my take on what I've heard. Okay. My take on what I've heard is you're on a reality show. A lot of people are on a reality show. You're not married, right?
No.
So you're not married. And in fact, I got schooled the other night because your buddy, your partner, your business partner, your friend, who also shares a name with you.
Tom, yeah. Schwartz.
Right. Well, he doesn't. The Schwartz is not shared.
No.
Just
Scandoval,
Tom. Yes.
Yeah.
Jews don't share. So
Is he Jewish?
No, he's not Jewish.
Yeah.
Schwartz?
Yeah, he's not Jewish.
He's not Jewish.
Well, then that's the scandal. That's what we should be talking about. How can a Schwartz not be a Jew? How is that even possible?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Wow. That's what the scandal is. That's cultural
appropriation. Well, I
Yes.
married Schultz that is
No,
Catholic.
Schultz, but Schultz doesn't have to be Jewish. I watched Hogan's Heroes growing up, and Schultz was not Jewish. Okay. But
Anyways.
Schwartz not being a Jew? That's a horrible. We have breaking news right here. Anyway, the point is, I saw him on that Andy Cohen show.
Yeah.
How do you feel about what he said?
Did you watch?
Yeah, I did not watch it. I sort of heard what he said, and you know, I think I can't be mad at what he said. I mean, there were a lot of accuracies of things that he said. You know, this whole situation has been just. I mean, obviously, I've never experienced anything like it in my life. It's just crazy how big this story has gotten for who I am. Like, I'm not like royal family, you know, I'm on a reality show. I mean, like, if Snooki has an affair with, like, you know, whoever, it's like, is that going to be like national news? Like,
That's my question.
you know, it's finally, I mean, it's been what, like almost 6 weeks now since this all went down. I'm finally like getting time to start to reflect on this situation, because I never thought I would get myself in a situation like this. Never dreamed it, ever. I mean, I worked too hard for my image, for my businesses, like for my integrity and everything, you know. But it just happened. And I mean, I you know, I guess we can get back to like, you know, how everything's sort of blown up and whatnot. But I can just tell you that, you know, it's no, you know, Ariana and I have, you know, I love Ariana. I still love Ariana, and I care about her very much so. But we, for a while, had been sort of like just having our own lives. I mean, we you know, have been together we're together for like 9 years. You know, obviously we built a business, and, you know, we got a house together and everything. We were a brand. And, you know, like, you know, many relationships, it felt like it became more of like a, like best friends, family, sometimes roommates. Like, it just was, there was a lot of ways where, you know, the relationship was just lacking, you know, the intimacy, the connection. I mean, we would travel more like by ourselves than we would together. We would go to I would go to weddings by myself. In fact, I went to Jason and Kimmy's wedding by myself.
I didn't meet her. You went
She didn't want to go. And I mean, like, that's normal. Like, you know, her manager had a wedding. I was like, you know, like, it just was kind of how it was. Like, we just sort of did our own thing. But we always wanted to make sure and keep the optics up that we were like a solid, powerful couple, because it was part of our brand, you know?
And is that something that you discussed with her? Like, to say, hey,
Yeah,
listen,
I mean,
even though we're kind of at best like roommates and we love each other and we're really good friends, let's not share with the world that this is not the perfect relationship? Is that a discussion?
It's sort of, I mean, especially with being on a reality show where you feel like you got frenemies around you, you know, that want to try to dig up dirt about anything. We were very private in that sense, because, you know, it's not like the safest of places. And so that was kind of sort of discussed, but it was kind of went unsaid. Like, our communication was not great. And you know, I feel like that's a fault on both of us. You know, we also, you know, especially this past year or so, we've both been dealing with a lot of anxiety and depression, and ways that we handle it very differently. We're very different people. You know, my way of handling it is like going out, meeting up with friends, drinking, like coming home late, like getting up, working out, like just constantly moving, leaving, going, doing things. And Ariana's way is more like staying in bed all day and like just, you know, isolating herself. And it just, man, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like we just sort of kept going apart. And I started to feel, I turned 40, and I started to look on my life, and I started to think, man, like, wow, I guess, you know, like, I accepted it, by the way. I accepted it. Like, I was like, okay, like, you know, Ken and Lisa, they probably don't have sex all the time. Like, this is probably how it is. Like, you know, you get in a relationship, like, for a long time, you just stop having sex. This is one of the things that happens. I hear it all the time. So I accepted it, you know. I got porn, I got whatever. I can just go crack one off in the bathroom, you know, like, be done with it. But there were so many other perks, you know, the building of the brand, the everything, you know, the image of it all, like you know, we did have each other's backs for sure, like, and that was nice. There was a safety to it, a big time safety to it, and stability. That was all really great. But as I turned 40, I started to look at my life, and it looked very bleak. I started to think my best years were behind me, and I started to lose my optimism in life and my drive. And I started to coming to terms that, like, I started to feel trapped, and I was like, I started to come to the realization that I think I started thinking, like, I don't need this house. I don't need this shit. Like, but I feel like I need to make a change. Like, I really need to make a change to feel alive again. to feel like, motivated, to feel optimistic again. And I could tell too when I started to feel this way, because Ariana was like trying to plan trips and things for us, and I started thinking like, I don't want to like do that anymore. I don't want to.
Schwartz had said too that you had tried to break up with her a number of times and it wouldn't happen, or that at least you told him that's what you were trying to do, that you tried to break up with her multiple times and that you weren't able to.
So when this whole Raquel thing came along, I was in a very dark place in my life, and it just happened at like the worst. I don't know, in a way now, like maybe hopefully I can look back, maybe best time ever, but like the worst time ever, because I was in such a place just yearning for like a connection. And Raquel and I had become, slowly, especially after her and James broke up, like really, really good friends, like confiding in each other, a source of like strength, a source of like, like. Two, let me tell you something as well, is that like when you're in a relationship where you don't have a connection and you're very different people, and like we go somewhere and she goes off with her friends, I go off with my friends, and whatever, there started to build resentment in the relationship. My confidence was zapped. I mean, my sexual your sexual experience with me would be equivalent to like, a 19-year-old, maybe his second time. Two, let me tell you something as well, is that like when you're in a relationship where you don't have a connection and you're very different people, and like you know what I mean? Like I had no mojo, no game anymore. And I'm just saying, I'm just putting that out there. I don't know, whatever. But what I'm saying is that was what I felt like reduced to, in a sense. And I'm not saying like that's just her fault or whatever. We just didn't have the intimacy. We kissed.
And that happens in a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
But to answer Jackie's question, because that's the little bit I know about it, is that Tom said last night that, and I think that it's incredibly commendable that you are sharing this even publicly, and not only for you, and not only for whatever the situation is, but I think, I don't know how much you know about me, but my soapbox is mental health, and I think that we have to remove the stigma about saying that we have issues in life. No, everybody's really happy to tell, I got a bad back and I go to a chiropractor, or I need a root canal, but people don't talk about depression. People don't talk about openly. They don't talk about depression. They don't talk about, issues in their relationship. So the fact that you're doing that is so commendable, and nothing but respect for you. But to answer Jackie's question, so this is going on.
Yes.
This is your experience. Are you sharing with her that you are trying to take your relationship in a different direction or end it?
I definitely started pulling away, and I don't want to say negative things about Ariana, but she can be at times like, look, I have my things. Don't get me wrong. I definitely have my things. And by the way, these are not excuses as to what I did. Like what I did was completely wrong and totally fucked up. So I'm just trying to give you guys like reasoning behind context. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like I had no mojo, no game anymore. And I'm just saying, I'm just putting that out there. I don't know, whatever. But what I'm saying is that was what I felt like reduced to, in a sense. And I'm not saying like that's just her fault or whatever. We just didn't have the intimacy. We kissed.
And that happens in a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
But to answer Jackie's question, because that's the little bit I know about it, is that Tom said last night that, and I think.
So as like Raquel and I became really good friends, like, and she's single and Schwartz is single. Like I was like, I thought she was so awesome. Like getting to know her, like she's so kind. She's like smart. She's witty. She's fun. She's hot. She's down for it. Yeah, she's beautiful. And I was like,
is that wrong?
I remember I was sitting there and I was like, Schwartz, dude, like even before we started filming, I was like, dude, what do you think of Raquel, dude? She's freaking awesome. He's like, yeah, she's all right. I was like, dude, you're an idiot. Like she's fucking amazing. Like, come on, dude. Like, and I kept trying to push like Schwartz and her to like.
Were you pushing Schwartz and her together to like put up a boundary for you?
No. I don't
mean to like hide you. I mean like so that you would, if she was with Schwartz, then
you
wouldn't.
Were you cock blocking yourself?
Yeah, were you cock blocking yourself?
No. In my opinion, I was like, hey, like if Schwartz and her start dating, then like we can all like hang out even more. You know what I'm saying? Like we became really good friends, and I guess like Schwartz was just like, nah, I'm not into it. And I'm like, dude, okay, whatever. You're dumb. Like, because obviously I thought very highly of her. And, when we finally, like, we were hanging out and just talking. Like, we had hung out like 2 nights or whatever, like one night, and then like a couple nights later we hung out again, and like we literally talked till like the sun came up the first night with like my friend Brett. It was like the guy, like if you watch the show, it was the guys' night at the Mondrian, and then it was like see you next Tuesday or whatever, and then we were back at my house and we was just like talking. I'm locked out of my house, and we just like we kissed. Like it was like magnetic. Like we were talking, moving like closer, like just like as we were talking, like as time went on, it's like we would just start talking closer and closer, and then all of a sudden it's just like we're like hissing, and it's like I felt something that I hadn't felt in so long, like emotionally.
Sorry. Sorry, decline. But hold on, that was before Sheena's wedding though, right? So were you upset then? Because at Sheena's wedding, Tom then did make a move and they did kiss. So you hooked up before.
Who's Sheena?
Sheena? Don't worry about it.
I don't know who Sheena is.
I'll get to it. But
the question was, up until this time where sparks flew, and you were just friends, was there times where you sat down
Yes.
and said, I don't know that this is working? Or
I got to a point, I think it was like a year prior, that I kind of drew a line. Because Ariana had like, look, she doesn't like when you do something wrong and you apologize. She thinks it means nothing because if you do it again, then it's like you're not even really sorry.
I agree with that.
I say that to my husband all the time.
If you do it again.
Well, I'm saying like,
apologies mean nothing. She wants action, right?
Yeah. And I would acknowledge her feelings and respect them in the sense. So I'd be like, okay, I know that bothers you. I'm sorry that bothers you. I didn't mean to offend you by coming home a little later tonight or whatever.
Yeah.
It's more like that. Like I'm sorry for you staying up and all that shit. Like I didn't mean anything personal. It's not malicious or anything. Ariana would just never apologize ever. Like literally, you can count on like, and she has it's one of her biggest strengths. She doesn't give up in any kind of argument. And we got to a certain point where I felt like we just weren't. She was just annoyed with me, and
so here's what I'm getting.
I can be annoying, but just like annoyed with me. So
here's what I'm getting. What I'm getting is you were in this long-term relationship with this woman. The relationship, and this happens to a lot of people and happens to everybody, and it through no fault of either of you, you're growing apart. And one person has different needs than the other person, and there's no satisfaction. What I'm asking though is, knowing that you each know it internally, did you ever sit down and say, this isn't working? Because I watched Schwartz last, on the Andy Cohen show. Yeah. And he said that, you told him that you were trying a few times to like end it.
Yeah. So to sort of, yes, I had actually. And so after Raquel and I, kissed and I felt this way or whatever, I got my ass into therapy immediately to try to figure out what the hell I'm going to do. Like, because the feelings were something very, very strong, like emotionally.
Sorry, decline. But hold on, that was before Sheena's wedding though, right? So were you upset then? Because at Sheena's wedding, Tom then did make a move and they did kiss. So you hooked up before.
Who's Sheena?
Sheena? Don't worry about it.
I don't know who Sheena is.
I'll get to it. But
the question was, up until this time where sparks flew, and you were just friends, was there times where you sat down and said, I don't know that this is working? Or
I got to a point, I think it was like a year prior, that I kind of drew a line.
Now, I want to point something out really quick. He says here that as soon as he had this kiss with Raquel, that he got his ass into therapy. You have to remember, though, this was boys' night, and then Sheena's wedding was between a week to 2 weeks later where they hooked up again. How many sessions did he really have with this therapist to discuss this before he did it yet again? Keep this in mind, because he's going to talk a little bit more about this therapy.
And those feelings that I had started to kind of like take over in a sense, like logic, all that shit went out the window, because I wasn't experienced that. I hadn't experienced that. And so, you stop. And especially like when you're in a situation where like, you're not happy in your life and there's like work's negative. And like, I was like neglecting my friends, like, even though we weren't like physical, like really like that often or whatever. we still like would FaceTime and whatnot, talk all the time. And like, all I could focus on was that. Like he said yesterday, like he was like, you know, I felt like Raquel, which it kind of became that way, like later on, like Raquel almost was like a drug to Tom. And it was our relationship, our connection was healthy, but the environment that it created, the like lying, the like whatever sneaking around was very unhealthy. Like, you know, having to like, but it's like time was always fleeting. Every time we were around each other, it felt like it could be the last time we see each other. And it just made us both like obsessive over like trying to see each other and stuff. But yes, to answer your question, like when that went down in Cancun, Schwartz didn't know about that. And what that was all about in that situation is that Schwartz and Raquel had not done anything, but it had been crucified like they were in a full-blown relationship by Katie and Lala. Bullied, crucified. Katie like had like Christina, like brought in Christina Kelly, brought in her mom, like all this stuff.
Don't worry, Dad.
Just
he doesn't know any of these names. He's looking at me like, what is going on? I get it. Keep going.
And then like they're sitting there at Sheena's wedding at the white party, and you got like these 3 girls up top wearing all black.
It was 2 girls wearing all black, Katie and Christina Kelly. Lala was wearing white, because I presume she was gonna go to the white party eventually, though she didn't.
Black, looking over everybody, being all judgy, and like they're just like, you know what, fuck this. If you're gonna treat us like we've been in a relationship, like, you know what I mean, like it was more of a rebellious thing.
You weren't upset at that point though, because you knew you had a magnetic connection with Raquel, and then you see her go and kiss your friend.
Well, Schwartz kissed her.
But you had kissed her previously, you said.
Yes.
So seeing that Schwartz and her kiss, that didn't upset you at all?
I mean, like I was a little jealous, like a little bit, but like I was not questioning like our connection, and I was more proud of them for like kind of like saying fuck you.
Is that why you decided to tell Schwartz then in August, because you saw that they had kissed?
No.
Sorry, my dad is so lost right now.
when we got back, Schwartz I asked him if he was like, he said he had no intention of like, you know, he kind of was like, dude, and I'm like, all right, he's like, no, I just literally wanted to just have fun, and like it meant nothing.
So
like,
I'm going to recap as the ignorant person here.
So then I told him what had
Can I
happened in the
recap
past.
as the ignorant person here? And because I'm just discerning it for myself, okay? Here's a young, talented man who has a business, who is on a show, who happens to be suffering with a life experience, turning 40, depressed, unaware of where his life and his business is leading, in a relationship that has stalled. Everything kind of feels like malaise. He's just looking for something. He happens to be surrounded by people who, you know, I think even though you're on a reality show, it's a very closed world. It really is. There's only certain people around. So there's this young lady, Raquel, who just happens to be there, and happens to be a very wonderful person and a friend that you can talk to. And when you feel very vulnerable, you need that outlet. And they started talking, and then, you know, there's chemistry. Sparks fly. They kiss. And in that moment, when you are so vulnerable, even just a kiss is like taking crack for the first time. You know what I mean? It creates a high. It's like a respite from this, you know, darkness that is your life. And you go, oh my God, I don't understand these feelings. You start talking to your therapist. You don't really fully act on that kiss, you know, but you want that feeling again. That's the first time that you feel alive. You feel like something positive, something light is happening in your life, but you're not really chasing it. And then your friend, who happens to be going through a bunch of shit externally, right, about this faux relationship, kisses her. He's happy for his friend. He feels a little bit jealous, but he doesn't know what to do about this. Did I just articulate what's happening? It doesn't sound so wrong when I say it.
Okay.
You don't agree with me?
I mean, look.
Am I right?
I mean, look, everybody has their perspective, and there's a lot of parts of your perspective that sound very, you know, I agree with.
Okay.
But you know,
but so far I haven't seen anything like crazy wrong that blows up into what this is blown up.
Look, like it wasn't just a kiss, and you know, things did kind of like.
You said the first time it was the kiss. It was a kiss at the door.
Well, that's what.
So he's saying that this kiss happened at their home. The same home where Ariana was. And let us recall, too, that Ariana had come home from the girls' trip because she had to put her dog down and she was mourning her dog's passing. Now, in the Jamie Lynn podcast that I have uploaded to my channel, Jamie Lynn, who was with Raquel at Boys Night, they had then all went to the Saddle Ranch, but they never mentioned where Raquel went after that or who she went home with. So here is just a quick clip from that podcast, which if you haven't heard this whole podcast, it's on my channel. Please check it out.
I had a video.
I saw that video.
Next episode of Vanderpump Rules is Boys Night. Okay, so you and I were there for that at the Mondrian.
Mm-hmm.
Afterwards, you went home. I went to Saddle Ranch with Raquel, Sandoval, and Brett, the manager of Schwartz and Sandy's. You were there because Raquel had just gotten back from Vegas, the girls' trip, and was very upset and asked you to come out that night. So you didn't come out with us afterwards. It somehow just ended up being the four of us going to Saddle Ranch after. And we're riding the bull. We're having drinks. Raquel and Tom were super into just deep conversation at the bar. So I was getting to know Brett. That's the first time I ever met him or hung out with him. Very, very nice guy
I love
who
Brett.
I'm friends with now.
Yeah, he's dope.
We closed it down. So we had to leave. I'm now in my car with Brett, and Raquel and Sandoval were sitting on the curb outside of Saddle Ranch just talking. I didn't realize it at the time, like how close they were talking or how intimate it actually looked. So Brett and I, we think we're funny. Do you think the video was funny?
It was actually funny. The voiceover was pretty dope.
So I start filming the two of them talking. We're so clueless that we have no idea what's actually transpiring. And I'm doing the voice for Sandoval. Brett's doing the voice for Raquel. And it goes over a minute, right? So then I'm like, oh my God, we're dying, we're laughing. Brett leaves the car, shows them. They both are laughing about it. You know, they're not like thinking anything that we shouldn't post it or whatever. So I watch it back and I had this thought. I go, you know what? I'm not posting this because this looks way too intimate. And I don't want Ariana to feel a certain way about this. And I don't want her to feel disrespected. But it didn't set off alarm bells to like, wait, is something inappropriate happening? It was just kind of like, she might get the wrong idea or something, you know, and I don't want to put anyone in that position.
Yeah.
If you watch it back without the voiceover on it, it looks super close, super intimate. But I mean, bottom line is none of us knew beforehand.
Even when I saw the video that you recorded, I was like, no, I'm not thinking anything of it. They're just having a deep conversation. I'm assuming it is that night as well. But she said that is when it began to happen.
So this was August.
Yeah. Yeah. So she confirmed that. And then I just started asking
And the
questions.
wedding was shortly after.
Now, Jamie does not say where Raquel went that night. She clearly states that they both were left at Saddle Ranch together. Now, my speculation from everything that I've heard, I'm thinking maybe this is the night that Raquel was too drunk to go home and ended up staying at Tom and Ariana's house where they have a guest bedroom, and that like Tom got up at some crazy hour and made the excuse that he was just getting Raquel a glass of water. I'm thinking maybe this all was that same night. What do you guys think? Do you think that this is the night that Raquel went home with Tom? Do you think that this is just something of a coincidence and maybe there was another night that all this went on? Like, what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments. Right now, all we can do is speculate and listen to the rest of this podcast with Tom just bullshitting, making excuses, gaslighting, and trying to make him seem like he is not the bad guy. Like, I had all these issues. I tried to get out. I did this. That's all it is. That's all it is to me. Excuses.
Started.
Oh,
That's what started something. But and then we backed off. But then it's just
you said you were locked out of the house. This all happened on the porch.
our backyard.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
On a lawn?
Like no, like we have a fire pit and like
wow.
a thing, and yeah.
Wow.
And it was kind of, yeah. I mean, look, like.
Do you literally lit fire?
I've no shit. I've not, look, I don't, that the feeling and the connection that we had got me to really sort of throw everything like off to the side.
I get it. So we're humans and it's emotion. All right. So you do that and you're nuts. You're like, you go, but then you didn't want to, were you trying to hold back from repeating that or going down that road?
Yeah. Yes, I was. We both were. Started.
Oh.
That's what started something. But, and then we backed off, but then it's just.
You said you were locked out of the house. This all happened on the porch?
Our backyard.
Wow.
Yeah.
You tried to stay apart? Now this is where I call bullshit. Boys' night was August, and Sheena got married in Mexico on August 23rd. So how is he going to claim, number one, they backed off and tried to not do this, that he went through all this counseling after it happened, when it happened again in Mexico too? And it was only 2, maybe 3 weeks from the first kiss/hookup. This is where he is trying to gain sympathy, but when you look at literally all the facts and the timeline of events, it just doesn't make sense at all.
It wasn't the easiest thing, and you know, at times, whatever. I mean, but then as time went on, and yes, I did try to, like, I got Ariana and I into couples therapy. I'd been in therapy for a few months, and I'd come to the conclusion, like, I already knew, like, in my heart that this was not right, that this didn't feel right, that we both deserved better in a sense.
Right.
That we both deserve to be happy, to have our needs, like, you know, met. And so I got us in the couples therapy. I didn't tell this to Ariana. I didn't disclose this because I, you know, to her and to us, like, we had planned to spend the rest of our lives with each other, you know, marriage or not. And I knew that this would be a really hard thing for her to accept. I mean, it was a very hard thing for me to accept. And so I got us into couples therapy, and we met together, and I started to kind of like slowly just sort of like plant the seed, like a little bit like, hey, I'm having doubts, I'm doing that, like, but I wanted to be there with a therapist, because in the past when I've tried to bring things up like this to Ariana, she shuts it down, you know, and just like kind of like metaphorically flips the Monopoly board over and walks away, you know. So I wanted to have a therapist there so we could just like have a mediator in a sense, or like somebody appear, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
Professional. And then we, you know, went individually, and as we kept going, I kept more and more putting it out there. Hey, I'm really, and then like towards the later sessions, I was going through hypotheticals. It's like, well, hypothetically, like, if we break up, like, what would you do? And Ariana too was at this point, like, I got a Coachella house, and she's like, I'd already said things about, like, even after our first session, she was like, you know, it's a lot of money to spend if you want to break up with me. And she had heard things and seen things about Raquel, but was like very much turning a blind eye, or just trusting me. It wasn't the easiest thing. And, you know, at times, whatever. I mean, but then as time went on, and yes, I did try to, like, I got Ariana and I into couples therapy. I'd been in therapy for a few months, and I'd come to the conclusion, like, I already knew, like, in my heart that this was not right, that this didn't feel right, that we both deserved better in a sense.
Right.
Well, you are supposed to trust your partner. Am I wrong?
But like, just to tell you how distant we were, and how, like, at later part of our relationship, like, I was seeing Raquel as often as I could, which I know that sounds horrible, and FaceTiming her all the time. And like, Ariana just like really didn't even notice, because that's just how separate our lives were. I had to actually tell her, like, you know, I don't, like, have you not noticed how distant I've been lately? And she's like, oh, you have? She's just like normally when you're with somebody and somebody's having a bad day and they walk in the door, or they're like been so closed off or whatever, it's like, honey, like, are you okay? Like, you seem to be very closed off from me lately. Like, what's going on? But she didn't even notice, because that's just how our relationship was. Like, we had separate lives. And so when I said hypothetically, if we broke up, she basically was like, well, you know, definitely not going to the reunion. I'm quitting the show. Fuck the sandwich shop that she's supposed to open up with Katie. And,
right.
we're selling the house. and I'm deleting all social media and I'm moving away. But like, just to tell you how distant we were and how like at later part of our relationship, like I was seeing Raquel as often as I could, which I know that sounds horrible, and FaceTiming her all the time.
In my opinion, Ariana was upset when she said, I'm going to quit the show. I'm not going to the reunion. I'm not going to have the sandwich shop with Katie. All of that was out of the heat of the moment. She was not thinking clearly at that point. She was upset, and all she was hearing was what Tom was saying to her. We all get that way. And then after we sit down and we think about things, that's when the bigger picture comes to mind and we do what we got to do. So I think that by Ariana saying all those things at that point, it was just that she was upset at that point. What do you guys think? Let me know below.
Okay. And did she?
Well, no, but because you guys didn't end up breaking up. But Tom said that you had told him that you had a plan. Was your plan still to break up with her after the reunion?
No, that was absolutely not my plan.
Okay. Because he had mentioned.
Can we hear the plan?
Well, yeah. What was your plan then?
So my plan was actually to
Here's the plan.
Was to break up with her in therapy. And I had basically I'd slowly sort of talked to her about it, and then I was like, well, she might get offended. So I actually, during this time too, Ariana like fully 180'd into this like beautiful, not saying 180, but like just became so accepting of me, like so much less judgmental. Like she said things like how would we'd be talking and she'd be like, wow, you're right. I see your point. I'm like, what? You actually think I'm smart?
You went to therapy. That's usually what happens is like people make a switch.
But you're saying like she didn't notice how distant you were, like it was going apart. Do you think that at a certain point, you know, that's your perception that she didn't notice? Maybe she felt like you were drifting away because you were giving these hints. And because you did give these hints, and this is something you needed to do. I'm not judging you.
No,
but
dude,
I'm saying
you can judge me all you want.
No, I don't want. But I'm not judging you. And you're human, and you're being incredibly open, and I appreciate that. But what I'm saying to you is, it's kind of like when she's made to realize, maybe through therapy or just her eyes are opening up and seeing that it is drifting away, and you've given these hints. Do you think that opened her up to go, wait, maybe I don't want this to end, and she changed? Like, it's not a negative that she opened up and started making you feel better and changing. You were in therapy. Ultimately, it's therapy should be fixing or giving you a coping skill.
Howie states that therapy's fixing it, which it's supposed to do. Well, thank you, Howie, for agreeing. Let's see what Tom's answer is now.
I had made it like pretty clear in therapy that like I wanted to like take the steps to break up, and then actually like Ariana like kind of just really started fighting for it, and I felt like so bad about it because she was being so unbelievably sweet and amazing, and I wish like, I mean, whoever gets that version of Ariana is going to be like the luckiest person. Like she was just, I mean, Ariana is already an amazing person, but that version of Ariana was just phenomenal. And I just wish I was already by that point way gone.
I would be fighting for my relationship too. Me and my boyfriend have been together 7 years in just a couple days. And if we were ever in a position like this, I would try and fight for my relationship too. For me, this is the man I know I want to spend the rest of my life with, as well as how Ariana felt with Tom. Therapy seemed to be helping, and to me, Tom used therapy as a way to break up, not to make it work. And he never actually wanted it to work. He just wanted therapy to help ease the separation, but I still don't get why he did not tell her during therapy about the affair. I mean, it's obviously clear for him therapy was his way of breaking up. So why wouldn't you come and say, listen, this is also what's been happening? He's always been the guy that needs to have everyone like him. And I also feel like he did not want the therapist to know he was doing what he was doing, or that he was a bad guy, a cheater, going after her best friend, all of that. Tom did this when he broke up with Kristen. Though she had her own issues, he used those issues to make him the good guy and her the bad. Now, in the podcast with Kristen and Nick Vale, which you can also see on my channel, she talks about how the producers sided with Tom and with the whole Miami girl situation when she came there and all that happened, and that they did not talk about it or bring it up again after that situation happened. And that they had sided with him just by the way he was with them. And they made it like he was the good guy and Kristen was the enemy. I also will say this. Ariana is amazing. She will completely make any man happy. And maybe, Tom, you just were not good enough for her. I hate to say it. Once a cheater, always a cheater. And I'm the type, I have faith in people. I know that they can change, learn from their mistakes, and better their situations. And in this case, Tom did not want to do any of that. And it just proves that theory, unfortunately, for me.
And so I actually did break up with her on Valentine's Day.
It's good. You got to pick important. Is that a plan?
No,
That was your plan?
I was going to say that
my plan was to break up with her in therapy, but it just was she was like we worked on Valentine's Day together all the time. Like we look at Valentine's Day as like we're not going to be like crammed in the corner by the bathroom, like, you know, where they bring in all the extra tables, like go to dinner. Like that's like we'll go out the day before Valentine's Day or like 2 days after. Like
I don't know what crammed in the corner in the
It
bathroom.
means he doesn't go
is.
out on Valentine's Day when it's super, super busy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Valentine's Day is not the day to say
so what do I do?
don't
Wait till
love you?
Do I wait till the day? I never said.
I think you do it on Passover, but that's me. I have
day
a
after
whole,
Valentine's Day.
The
What-
second night of Passover is always, honey. You know the term Passover? I just did.
Well, hold on. You talked about hindsight is 2020 in that interview where you had to explain what
that was the
hindsight is
stupidest.
2020 is today.
That I did what? You talking about the TMZ?
Yeah.
On TMZ, that guy, that was the dumbest. I played that video at some point. How did you have the patience? We'll get back to this, but to me that was. He goes 2020. Hindsight is 2020. For those that didn't watch it, and maybe we
I
can
feel
play.
like we should play it.
You wanna
But
play-
we don't have to play it right
We don't
now.
have to. Would that make you uncomfortable?
It doesn't make me uncomfortable. at
Okay,
this
you
point.
should play it. The guy he doesn't understand your point. You just kept saying, he said, how do you feel or what's going on? And you went, hindsight is 2020, which is a very well-known saying, I think.
Yeah.
But now that hindsight is 2020, what do you think would have been the right time to break up with her and tell her?
There is never a right time. And what is the right time to end like a 9-year relationship?
When you
in this
start to
situation?
feel feelings for... Okay,
We'll hold
sorry.
it. We'll hold it. No, you guys keep talking. We'll hold the video.
Not when you start to feel feelings for someone else. I mean, it was going to go bad regardless, right? Because
Yeah.
Wait.
Raquel-
But he didn't. From what he's saying, now I'm discussing with her, like you're not here. But the point is that he said for a long time he had personal issues with his own feelings and his own life and her. So way before, in fact, that probably opened the door to have feelings for somebody else.
Okay.
Right?
I guess so. Maybe.
Do you want me to give my opinion or no?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think that's fine to have problems in a relationship. Everyone goes through that. You go through therapy. You're not sure if you want to stay in it. Then you could drag it out as long as you want.
But
Like,
he
you're
knew
not
he
hurting-
wanted to get out. That's why he said he was in
you
therapy to get out.
But you get out before you
He's not
potentially
married.
have an
I
affair
know.
with.
And so I actually did break up with her on Valentine's Day.
It's good. You got to pick important. Is that a plan?
No,
That was your plan?
I was going to say that
my plan was to break up with her in therapy, but it just was she was like we worked on Valentine's Day together all the time. Like we look at Valentine's Day as like we're not going to be like crammed in the corner by the bathroom, like, you know, where they bring in all the extra tables, like go to dinner. Like that's like we'll go out the day before Valentine's Day or like 2 days after. Like
I don't know what crammed in the corner in the
It means
bathroom.
he doesn't go
is. Oh.
out on Valentine's Day when it's super, super busy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Valentine's Day is not the day to say
So what do I do?
don't
Wait till
love you?
Someone else.
He's
I
not
know,
married.
but I-
Please don't interrupt us. We are having an argument.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, but that's what I would think. Like, yes, it happened. Yes, hindsight's 2020. But I would think now, looking back, the right time to get out would be you were gonna get backlash anyways, just because she was your girlfriend's friend. She was your friend's ex-fiance. You're going to get backlash anyways, right?
Yeah.
But
like,
getting out of it for him, from what I'm,
it is a monumental task. This is the
that's what I'm
hardest
saying.
Relationship
It's not
I've-
even a wife. It's not even a girlfriend. It's a girlfriend. It's a partner. It's a brand. You're in business together.
On a
you're
reality show.
You're on a reality show together, and you live in the same house.
Yeah.
That you both are you partners in the house?
Yes.
Are you still in the house?
Yeah, it's actually been really pretty calm lately. It was a little.
You both live together still?
Well, I mean, Howie, I can't. To be totally honest, like I can't afford to. I don't have a lot of friends I can stay with right now. A, and B, like
Kimmy?
Kimmy,
I
you want to
can't,
babysit?
I can't be in Thousand Oaks right now.
Oh, so if Kimmy lived in Encino, you would live there. Okay.
Yeah, I also, with the house and stuff, I kind of run the house, like in a sense of like, I don't mean like I run it, but like I handle the gardening, the housekeeping, my assistant comes and cleans, like stocks everything, like, and I basically run everything in the house.
He's
I
not
know,
married.
but
Please don't interrupt us. We are having an argument.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, but that's what I would think. Like, yes, it happened. Yes, hindsight's 20/20. But I would think now, looking back, the right time to get out would be you were gonna get backlash anyways, just because she was your girlfriend's friend, she was your friend's ex-fiance. You're going to.
You can go stay with Raquel. She has her own apartment. And since you both have said that you want to make this work, why aren't you staying with her? And you know that Schwartz would have you. I don't believe that there isn't anywhere that you cannot go. And B, just because you run the house like you say, or do the gardening, have your assistant stock up, all of that does not mean that Ariana can't do all of that herself. She is an independent woman and highly capable of figuring it all out. But we all know that you both need to sell this house and get out of this deal together. And I also don't think that he's not telling Howie about the financial situation that Tom got these two into. She was with him. She helped with the whole restaurant and supporting him with everything. And he's not telling that situation of it either. And that's a big situation.
So she's in the house?
She's in the house. We're in dude, this is a big house.
Right.
It's like almost a $3 million house. We're both, we text, we have a go-between, text like when we're coming and going. All I do is I go into my room. And then, she's in her room, she's downstairs, and then I'll go into the gym and I'll be in the gym. And then when I'm done with the gym, I go back into my room and then and then I'll go somewhere else. Sometimes I stay away, but I always let them know. I've gone out of town a couple times. But yeah, it's it's been okay. Like we're not, initially it wasn't great, but, and I had to stay away.
So she's in the house?
She's in the house. We're in dude, this is a big house.
Right.
It's like almost a $3 million house. We're both, we text each.
You never stayed away. You stayed away for what? 2 days where you were already going to go perform with your band and then she left to go to Mexico to her friend's wedding? Such bullshit.
But, I would understand if we had kids. So the kids would see mommy and daddy being weird, but we don't.
You have a pet?
We do. We have a cat and a dog.
So that's like kids. No?
I think they're fine.
They're fine?
You have a middleman to say when you're going to change rooms? To tell each other when you're going to
That's what she wanted. He'll be like, yeah. He'll text and be like, Ariana wants to try to use the gym at 6. And I'm like, okay, great.
So are you making a plan now? Is there a plan?
Future plan.
Yes.
Is the house listed?
The house is not listed yet, no.
Is that a plan?
Yeah. We're just, we both have she's really busy right now. She's obviously blowing up. Which is great. I'm really happy to see that. And so she's busy doing things. I've been busy as well, trying to get things together. So yeah,
you are busy. You're on tour, and you're doing other things. I think you're gonna. Do you find? I find it crazy unfair the how big this has gotten. No.
Yeah. No. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Because I'm into Bravo, then in my little world, when I watch you guys, it's a big deal. I'm surprised
but
that
on
it's
Bravo,
broken the bubble of Bravo.
Oh yeah.
And now it's
hasn't there been things on
national
Bravo
news.
and other shows on the Housewives and things like that have been more they've
Bigger.
never been this big, but I think
there's been way worse things.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I think you'll be fine if Michael Vick could go back to playing football then you'll be fine.
No, that's not a good analogy. Don't listen to my daughter.
If Chris
Comparing
Brown
to
can go back to
Michael Vick was killing.
That's what I'm saying. In the grand scheme of things,
It's not the grand scheme of things. You are a single young man who was in a relationship that, for all intents and purposes, was going stale, and you were surrounded by a beautiful young lady who happens to be a good friend. Are you still with her? You with her?
We're not we're just we're really good friends. We're not putting any label on it. We're also just kind of taking a break. But I would understand if we had kids. So the kids would see mommy and daddy being weird, but we don't.
You have a pet?
We do. We have a cat and a dog.
So that's like kids. No?
I think they're fine.
They're fine?
You have a middleman to say when you're going to change rooms? To tell each other when you're going to like?
That's what she wanted. Like he'll be like, yeah. He'll text and be like, Ariana wants to try to use the gym at 6, and I'm like, okay, great.
So are you making good friends?
Yeah.
With benefits, right?
No,
not
right now.
There's a fire. Okay.
Not right now.
Okay. I'm just saying. But so the point is that a bad thing to say? It's not as bad as you comparing this to Michael Vick. I think you're totally wrong.
No, I'm not comparing it to Michael Vick.
Yes, you are.
I'm saying that if he, it's not as bad as that. So
I think you're wrong.
I didn't compare it. You guys are okay. Whatever. You
I
can
get
cut
it.
out.
I get it. I get it.
I'm just saying that it'll blow over because there's worse things that have blown over.
And I think the
It's
fact
just
that
crazy
people are
that-
listening to you today, and I think that's the key. I think that you need, and I would imagine it's really scary, but I think you're articulate enough. I'm telling you this as somebody who's sitting here and listening to you.
Thanks.
You are articulate enough you need to be heard. Because I think the narrative is everybody else's narrative but yours. I'm not condoning
No, hell no.
cheating on a partner, I don't condone that at all. You're not condoning that.
Yeah.
You're being just honest of where you are. And I think people have to have some empathy and compassion for human good friends.
Yeah.
With benefits. Right?
Not right
There's
now.
a fire. Okay.
Not right now.
Okay. I'm just saying. But so the point is that a bad thing to say? It's not as bad as you comparing this to Michael Vick. I think you're totally wrong.
I'm not comparing it to Michael Vick.
Yes, you are.
I'm saying that if
I have empathy and I have compassion for people, but I also don't condone what he did. I don't want to see him get hurt or like his businesses be affected like they were, but I feel like he needs to take freaking accountability. He needs to apologize and really mean it, which we know isn't going to happen. And he needs to realize he hurt her. He hurt a lot of his fans and a lot of people close to him. And it is very public, and that's what he chose for his life by opening up to cameras. I also know he isn't being completely honest here on this podcast. He has lied about a couple things. Come on now.
Every single one of us makes mistakes. And I don't understand the vitriol and the hatred and the attacks that people are putting upon you and even others in social media. It's really hard.
Dude, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
It's been really tough to see, obviously, this situation, there's only 3 people involved in it. Me, Ariana, and Raquel. That's it. And there's just really, and mainly just Ariana and I, there's two things that happen here. The ending of a relationship.
Every single one of us makes mistakes. And I don't understand the vitriol and the hatred and the attacks that people are putting upon.
And the affair. And
the affair led to the breakup.
And I can tell you right now, by far, the most painful thing for Ariana, I know her and I know myself because I was in this with her, is the ending of the relationship. And that's also the most painful thing for our friends. We were referred to as mom and dad. We took people, people stayed at our house and we took care of our friends, I take care of my friends. And people are grouping the breakup and the affair together and they're taking it out on me right now. By far, the most painful thing for Ariana. I know her and I know myself because I was in this with.
Because it is the same thing. The affair led to the breakup. Not the breakup, then the affair.
And I understand that. And
well, the affair and the breakup that was the straw that broke the camel's back, right?
The breakup was an inevitable thing. I don't know if it would have quite happened.
If I asked Ariana if she was sitting here today, would she have when? I do understand a couple of things. She found her moment was she found some stuff on your phone, right?
Yes.
Okay. Before she found the stuff on your phone, she would have considered you guys still in a relationship, and maybe a relationship that could have been mended, right? Because she was going in a different direction than you.
I had already broken up with her 2 weeks earlier, and I understand that. And
well, the affair and the breakup that was the straw that broke the camel's back, right?
The breakup was an inevitable thing.
I don't believe that they broke up 2 weeks earlier. What do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments.
And I told her, I said, listen, we don't have to post anything on social media. Let's talk through this. I understand, we were on hold for a big job too. And to for, mixology, together. And so it's we can like keep this like between us, like we always have kept stuff between us, and figure out a way to navigate this that like helps us both out, makes it easier. And so I was like, we'll talk, you know, obviously she was very upset. I mean, she freaking punched me and all this shit. And then you know, but after she calmed down, we started talking. And then a couple days later, I sit down to talk with her again. And she's like, I'm like not letting you leave me. You're going to have to force me out of this relationship. And I was like, Ariana, like, I don't think I could be faithful in a relationship with you right now. I like was saying all these things. I hadn't told her about Raquel yet. But I did. I was like, she's like, if you break up with me, you will effectively be ending my life. And I was like, I didn't, and I just was like, I didn't know what to do. She was just completely in denial and not accepting it.
I really don't like that he is saying that she punched him. I feel like that may not be true, and his way of trying to make her look bad, like these small little innuendos that he's been doing throughout the whole podcast. I also don't like that he is talking about her mental health here and saying things we don't know if they are true or not. And this is a lot for someone to go through, where they both have loved each other and been together for 9 years and effectively in a partnership where they were like married together on their own terms, of course. I don't agree with him blaming all this on her mental health at all. And clearly he has stated throughout this podcast as well, he was going through his own issues. But this just seems like another excuse to put on Ariana instead of himself.
And so 2 weeks later, I mean, I went to Miami the following weekend. Didn't even tell her where I was going. Went to a food and wine festival. Like, she could have came. I didn't invite her. Instead, I invited like Jason. And like, it's just us and a bunch of guys. And she didn't even know when I was coming back. Didn't call me, didn't talk to me the entire time. Like, that's not somebody who's in a relationship. You can't go with your boys to Miami and not check in with your girl. Like, let's be real. It's because we weren't in a relationship. So I did tell her I was landing, but then I didn't even come home until like, you know, 2 in the morning, like that night. Like, and she didn't say anything at all. And the night in question, I mean, she knew, like, we weren't kissing or nothing like that. Nothing was happening. Like, and we were at Tom Tom for this event, and we've never been PDA unless it's like for a photo or for press or whatever. She like in front of all these fans, she like grabs me and knows that I'm not going to push her away in front of people, and she kisses me, like, and then, you know, and then I perform. My phone falls out of the pocket. She sees it, and like obviously, you know, is the most probably upset and angry I've ever seen her. But I think she went through my phone just to see if like I'd done anything had happened with somebody in like Miami. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But like, we were broken up. She knew we were broken up. Like, we didn't tell anybody, but she knew. She was trying to like convince me not to do that, like not to be broken up or like get back together. But that was not the case, and I was not giving. She asked me that day as we were leaving about like, we talked about fertilizing eggs, which I never did. And she was like, "So, what do you think about getting a sperm check to fertilize my eggs?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "We're broken up. Like, what?" I'm just like, we'll talk about this later. I got to go to my show, whatever. Like, it just was like fully in denial. And it scared me. Mm-hmm. It really scared me. That's why I didn't, like, you say, like, why didn't you just break up with her then? It's because of the threat of self-sabotaging. And you know how much that hurts me? Because, like, she's been on the show for 9 years, building all of this. We built all this together, and you're just going to throw that away? Also, you haven't had to, like, deal with any real drama on the show for years. So now shit hits the fan, like, with you, and like, then you quit? You quit the show? Like, I'm like, that's not fair. I even said that to her in therapy. I was like, that's not fair for you to quit the show. Tom and Katie went through a divorce. You know, like, James and Raquel went through a breakup on the reunion. But, like, we break up, and you're just like, no, I quit. Like, I'm like, that's fucked up. That's not fair to everybody else. And that's one of the reasons why I brought up our issues on camera. I called our showrunner, Jeremiah, to hold myself accountable, because I was like, dude, this is not fair. I see all these people going through things. All these people are putting themselves out there, and we're not. She was trying to like convince me not to do that, like not to be broken up or like get back together. But that was not the case, and I was not giving. She asked me that day as we were leaving about like, we talked about fertilizing eggs, which I never did. And she was like, "So, what do you think about getting a sperm check to fertilize my eggs?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "We're broken up."
With everything we have heard, I do not think he was the one to call them. I do believe, though, that once everything came out which we know Ariana was the one to come out with it because she was not protecting him anymore. She was protecting herself after all she went through. And we also know that he threatened to quit because he did not like the way a scene was done when they had picked back up. I don't believe it. I do believe, though, when he found out that they were picking back up and going to be recording a little bit for the last bit of the season 10, he saw an opportunity to try and make himself look like the good guy, even though he was the bad guy. He has done this before, and I don't think that producers were having his shit this time.
We're not, and it's not fair. You know what I mean? It's not fair. So I called him, and so that's why, like, you know, that's why it started to come to light on the show.
Did you, any of the communications that you had with Ariana about breaking up or saying that it's not, did you do that on text?
No.
Never.
I would never text things like that. That's crazy.
So why do you think then that this is such a bigger deal? Because there's been infidelity in the past on the show, like with Kristen and Jax, where it's been in the friend group too. Yeah. And it doesn't seem like it's reached the same as this. Why do you think that is?
I think it's COVID related.
Yeah.
It's long haul COVID fatigue.
Yeah. Why do you think it blew up like this?
I just think that, I mean, close friends did see the issues. Close friends did. But I honestly, I don't know. I think it was just really shocking. I also there's a lot of shitty things that happen in the news all the time. This happened on a time where there just wasn't like a lot going on. I mean, hell, CNN's covering this.
Yeah, that's what
CNN. I watch CNN. I don't want to watch this shit on fucking CNN. You think I want to hear about that? No.
I know, but that's what's amazing to me. I'm not. Listen, you're not condoning your behavior. Nobody is condoning.
Hell no.
No, I know. I said I saw Trump getting indicted, and then I see like you on the same channel right after.
But I'm saying I don't understand I think humanity is being unfair to you, and I think press is being unfair to you, and I think the world is being unfair to you right now. That's not to say I don't think there's another human being out there that isn't capable of making a mistake. I don't think that your mistake deserves the vitriol, the light that is shining on it is crazy to me. It's crazy to me.
I'll tell you what hurts the most is I have friends that I've like, some of these friends, I mean, I'm more of the social person, so I'm the person that shows up to your birthday party or shows up to your comedy show.
You're the number one guy in the group.
No, shut up. Definitely not. But like between Ariana and I'm the one that shows up and represents both of us a lot of times, just because I'm, but there are really good friends of mine that have like used this scenario and obviously, I mean, I've been so down. I mean, I've had some really dark thoughts. I'm doing better now. I actually haven't.
I hope you are.
I've gone like 4 days without drinking now, which is like, I don't know the last time I've done that. Like, it's probably been years. I'm trying to handle this in a healthy way because I was drinking to like handle it, and it's not good. It's a dark road. And but what's hurt is that people I've known for so long are have taken this opportunity to like bring out like skeletons out of the closet from like 7-8 years ago. And I'm just like, dude, like, why would you do that? Why would you try to kick me while I'm down? Also using this to make it seem like everything I've done for them, like all the favors, all the times I've stuck by them when nobody else would, to just like make that out to be like that I'm a narcissist and that was all just so I could look good. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like that you're taking the past, like what I did being like with this affair, and you're erasing the last like 12, 15 years of our friendship. Like it really fucking kills. And then also using all these things to like as content for their podcasts, like, like fellow cast members, like ask me all these questions, like ask me questions. It's like, you don't want to know because you care about Ariana. You want to know so you have more content for your podcast. And it's like, it's disgusting to me. It's so gross. Like, ugh. I'm like, wow, like, who are you? I mean, because it's like, you're like, oh, like really seeing who you are as a person. I'm like, no, I'm really seeing who you are as a person, because you're not somebody who gives a flying fuck about Ariana. You're just doing this for your own personal gain. I have friends that I'm better friends with than Ariana, which is fine. Like, I'm not saying like you need to be on my side at all, but they like don't even hit me up. They like try to understand, like, I'm not saying like nothing is excusable, like for what I did. I handled shit wrong. I fucked up, and I definitely deserve the hate. But like, for these close friends to not even shoot me a text and just go right to social media and just start like posting things like, was I a pawn in this whole game? Like what? Like just like adding drama. You know, it's just like.
Maybe this was the last straw for some of them. Maybe they saw you finally for who you are. Maybe this doesn't align with their morals, unfortunately. Your friends have this choice, and they can make them too. Maybe they are siding with Ariana because what you did is just disgusting, and they agree with that. Tom has never been held accountable for his actions, in my opinion, and it's about time that he is held for them. Maybe some of them are wondering if they were used by Tom. And I think this is something Tom just doesn't see for what it really is and is deflecting and acting dumbfounded. Like, why would they think this? Oh my God, how? Because clearly you gave them a reason to think this. And clearly things happened.
Well, you're in that
disappointing,
industry.
sad.
That's what reality TV is. The truth is that you say these are good friends. Ultimately in life, and I'll tell you this as a much older person than you,
sure
you
you know.
find out who your friends are now when shit happens, not when things are great. When things are great, there's a lot of people that'll hang out with you and you'll have fun with and you'll work with and you'll play with and you go, these are my friends and this is my friend so-and-so. But when shit hits the fan, the people that are left, the people that are supporting you, the people that are there for you are your friends. The other people were just people that are in your life. So I know that you have good friends. I got to be honest with you. I'm really close to Kimmy because she works here and Jason. And I will tell you that if I wish I had friends like Jason. Jason is a really good guy who really cares about you.
I know he does.
And so does Kimmy. And they came in today and they were concerned for your well-being. Not for this show. I mean,
yeah.
And I think the fact that you get a platform like this to just talk, I think like nobody's going to go, hey, there was nothing wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you're a human being that made a mistake, who's in a dark place. I don't understand all this vitriol, and I don't condone all this hatred coming your way. And I don't condone, I think nobody's kicking, you got a lot of people kicking you while you're down. And from what I'm getting today is you're kicking yourself enough. He doesn't need help kicking himself. He knows what he did wrong. They'll both be. Ariana and you will be better people for this. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Like radiation. I'm just kidding. It's a bad joke.
Yeah, it's a bad joke.
Yeah.
But see, you even understand it's a bad joke. I love a person who tells a bad joke and recognizes how bad the joke is.
But this is the first time you've been on and told, like, I've seen Sheena, I've seen Lala, I've seen Jax, I've seen Kristen come on every single podcast and give their opinion. Is there anything else now that you're here and you're talking that you want to clear up that was misinformation?
I just, I don't know. I can't really think of anything offhand. I just, there's a lot of people saying I know for a fact that this happened because somebody told me. And it's like, that's not you knowing for a fact. You know what I mean? Like,
well, the truth of the matter is, you've said it a couple times in this interview. This is 3 people. Those are really the only 3 people you need to hear from.
Yeah.
And then you as a listener can draw what conclusion you want and feel how you want. That's why I was asking you, I kind of opened up this interview by saying, your buddy was on Andy Cohen's show. How did you feel about how he handled it and all his answers?
I love Schwartz, and
yeah.
I think he's a very smart guy, and I really value his perspective. So I think he handled himself great. I think
he did. He was being kind of like attacked for.
Of course he was. I'll tell you. You're right. There's 3 people in this situation, and I'll just tell you that at times with this whole situation, I have never felt the fight or flight that I've felt in this situation. Like I'm telling you, like I was literally on the run, like I was wanted for like a triple homicide. I didn't shower for days, in the same clothes for days, didn't have like my medication, like literally just like dodging paparazzi. I've been so defensive. It did at times turn me into a total asshole, and I feel bad about that because I was just like very defensive and not open. I'm finally starting to like my guards, you know what I mean? Like, so I'll say that because of that, I have not felt like totally safe revealing everything. And obviously Ariana still, I mean, she's probably not quite as upset as she was.
How are you going to say if she's still upset or not? She is going through this as well. Have we heard from Ariana? Has she been on a podcast? No. We don't know how she is feeling. We only know what people are telling us. And for you to say that she's better now, You don't know that. You cannot speak for her in this situation anymore.
But she's still probably very upset. So when I have people like Sheena and Lisa and even like our producers asking questions about like, well, what happened here on like, August 24th and like this day, like where are you in here? Like all these little details. Like I don't owe that shit to them for like content or to add salaciousness to our show. I have no problem telling at some point Ariana anything she wants to know. But I'm not going to sit there and be interrogated by Lala or Sheena. Like, sorry. You know what I mean? Like, that's not happening. Especially with their behavior lately. Like, just taking any little, like, they're like doing a whole podcast on like what's going to happen with the dogs and like stuff. Like, that is not this.
But you guys are in the world of reality, and reality is content. So they're just taking advantage of the situation. But that's what they signed up to do.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, I'll listen on camera, off camera. If Ariana wants to know, what like any details, I'll fully go into that. But she's the only one that deserves that.
Do you feel like you're a different person now?
I feel like no, but in a way, yes. That's a loaded question. I'm really starting to like being like sober and stuff for like just 4 days is like really started to open my eyes
in a good way.
In a really good way.
Have you thought about whether or not you'll go back to the show if you want to go back for next season?
I mean, at this point, this scandal has obviously like shot our ratings way up. I mean, it's not going to be easy to go back and film, but
are you obligated to? Do you have a contract for the next?
I'm not obligated to, but
and what about the bars?
I've kept my distance because I don't want to create a negative, I don't want to create a negative environment, and I don't want, obviously with the bars, like I'm a small part of a bigger situation. Our employees and stuff, like they're the ones that I'm worried about.
You sound like you're turning over a whole new leaf in life.
Yes, I'm really trying to, and I'm going to, and I want to. If anything that good can come out of this is that I just learn and never get myself in this situation again. Learn, see the mistakes that I made, stay in therapy. I mean, shit, man. During this situation, I felt like Adam Sandler's character in Uncut Gems. Like it was not fun. It was anxiety. Yeah. It was like there was no thrill in like sneaking around, and it was not cool.
Well, you're very recognizable,
dude. I know. That's why you couldn't
should shave your mustache off.
Yeah, you want to do it? Should we do it?
You would do that?
Yeah. You want to do
it? We have razors. Do we have?
I brought one with me.
You just carry a razor?
Yeah, don't you?
Wow. This is kind of a symbolic moment where Tom is turning over he's going for a whole new look. What are you laughing at?
So that he's unrecognizable?
I don't know.
It is.
There we go.
All right, here we go. Let's see. I'm gonna watch.
How long have you had the stash?
I've had the stash for like, let's see, we're doing it? Here.
Hold on, move the mic.
Oh, this? Which way?
Just so he can see you.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. All right, ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Does it go down or not? Oh.
You don't know how to do it, Dad.
No, I don't know how to. I'm afraid.
You're not gonna cut me.
No, I don't.
Oh, dang, this thing's not working.
It's not doing a very good job. I think it's just my dad that doesn't really know how to do it. You should know how to do it, Dad.
Let me try the other side.
Yeah.
The weirdest things happen on this show. What was the last one with the tattoo? Who did we give a tattoo?
I don't know.
Weird Al gave a tattoo when he came in here.
Jackie, I'm shaving the other. I'm shaving. The other side.
Oh, he's really trying to get me canceled now.
Oh, I just realized. I didn't realize what I was saying. No, Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah,
It's Charlie Chaplin. It's not what you. Is it Charlie Chaplin? Just.
You have to do the middle, Dad. You have to go.
I'm trying to go. Does that hurt?
I think you're hurting him.
Am I hurting you?
Let him do it. I think you're really bad at it, Dad.
Yeah,
no, this razor sucks.
Yeah, it's out of batteries too. So that's it.
You could just
wait. No, hold on. We'll get it.
Leave it like that.
We're getting it.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
there we go.
Trimming.
So if you're just joining us now, this is Tom Sandoval, and he is changing.
Is this ASMR?
This is a live change. Oh yeah, you can hear the snipping. We should do an ASMR. You can.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Listen. Shh.
Just silence.
There we go. Oh, wow. Wow, I felt a little naked there.
When's the last time you were shaved?
Oh, my gosh, it's been like over a year.
You look like a kid again. It's amazing.
In fact, he's never known me without facial hair.
Jason, you're going to recognize your friend, Jace? Who's that guy, he said. This is amazing.
Wow.
Is that
Look at that.
Wow.
Unrecognizable.
Look right into the camera. Zoom in or something. Jer?
Or something.
Wow.
Look right there into the camera.
Well, I feel weird.
Whole new man.
It's amazing. Wow. Tom Sandoval and themostextras.com, which is on the screen right now. Right, Jeremy? Right, Jeremy? No, you want have Kenny do it. Have Kenny put it on the screen right now. Kenny, hold it still. Kenny! They're trying to read it. Okay, all right. And so those are the dates. You got to go see that. I wish you nothing but the best. I'm being honest with you. I feel really bad. I think you have been not only a great guest, but I think you've been incredibly helpful to others when you're able to show your vulnerability, publicly. There are so many people that make mistakes, that are suffering, that are not open. I think we all need to be open, and hopefully you and Ariana can get through this tough time. And, my heart goes out to everybody involved. And there are no sides. There's just humans. And I wish you nothing but the best. Is there anything else that you want to plug that you haven't plugged?
No, that's pretty much it.
Well, I
And we all
heard that
need
you want a hug, that you want hugs.
I'll take a hug.
Schwartz said that you need hugs.
I do.
Yeah.
If I wasn't such a germaphobe, I would hug you. But think of this podcast as a big hug, okay? Are you happy?
I'm happy.
And I just wish you health, happiness, support. And that goes out to Ariana and Raquel, and you said some other names I don't know.
Everyone.
Well, that's it for this podcast. It's a lot to unload. There's a lot that I think that he maybe exaggerated on, maybe not told the full truth, maybe created more than he should. I don't think that he did his due diligence. He didn't apologize to Ariana, and that's a big thing. He needs to apologize for this affair. He keeps saying, I know what I did is wrong. I know what I did is not cool, but you're not apologizing. And he says, I hope that I can learn from my mistakes. This is not the first time, not the second time. I mean, let's be honest. The whole Kristen saga of his life, he was doing this with Ariana before he broke up with Kristen. So this is something that he repeated. This is not this is a first time of him cheating, him having an affair, all of that. It wasn't as long as this affair went on, but it was still kind of the same thing. I do wish for him that he can find some peace within himself, that he can change to be a better man. I don't think that his relationship with Raquel is going to last, and there's much more to unpack than this whole situation. And he just needs to realize there's a lot more to life than someone that is obsessed with you and wants to be your biggest fan and all of that, which I do feel like Raquel is kind of a groupie in this situation. She went from DJ James Kennedy to now Tom Sandoval in the most extras. She seems like that kind of a person. She seems like she wants her name out there. She wants to be with the next best thing. And that's just my opinion on Raquel. I mean, this is just how it is. But thank you all for watching. If you liked this style of video where I add my commentary into it, please let me know down below. If you like just hearing the podcast through, let me know also. I want to make sure that I get these the way you guys want it. I love listening to it. I also love giving my commentary. So please let me know down below how you feel about this podcast, how you feel about everything Tom has said, and if you like the way I did it. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Bye, everyone.